What's up, 13 Flaws? I'm great. How are you? I'm a bit early, but I figure I'll just sit around and tinker with the guitar until 10 and then get into the regular topics that I have kind of prepared for this, and then see if anyone else joins. Nonetheless, maybe it'll just be me and you if you got the time to hang out. Since I've been on here, but I'm going to get into all that here in a few. Anything up with you, 13? Also, I don't know if you're still in the Discord. I am not able to log into it today for some reason. It keeps freezing up on the iPhone. So I can't really let people know that I'm doing this over here. I'm going to try again, but the last couple times I tried, it wouldn't get in there. Yeah, still locked up. I can't do anything in Discord. I was going to announce it, but it doesn't seem to be coming together. Theory's a good thing, man. It's one of those things you want to learn a bunch of and then just kind of forget it and be able to just kind of play with it, just being in the back of your mind. play that song. What's up, Anthony? Thanks for stopping by. How have you been? I haven't talked to many of you in quite a few weeks, so hopefully everyone's well. Yeah, thank you, 13. That I really appreciate you letting folks know over there. I can't log into Discord today. I was trying to. But yeah, I'm gonna kind of just sit around and tinker on the guitar and talk to you, and to 10 o'clock Eastern time, and then I'll get into kind of the idea of the show. It's good to see you fellas in text form. Yeah, man, that's what it's for. Unless you're someone who's gonna get into working off charts or something like that, then yeah, the theory is just there to be a guide. But I don't know. My take on it is that it shouldn't be a strict guide. Some of the guitar players that I admire the most are not theory proficient. So I don't know. Like I love Stephen Carpenter from the Deftones. Obviously, he's got some negative press for his personal opinions on things, which is silly. But anyhow, his guitar playing is great, but he's pretty open that he doesn't know much about theory or guitar playing. It doesn't feel like his guitar playing has improved over the years, which I don't see how there's any way it hasn't improved. He probably doesn't see it that way, but I think sometimes when you're doing something and in the middle of years of doing a thing, you don't notice gradual improvements or the ease of things. I think, in my opinion, with him playing 7s and 8s so much and still playing some of the songs that originally were on 6-string on the 7-string, that's a huge leap in adapting and improving your playing too, because you have to think different, especially when you're dealing with the additional strings and different tunings and things. You definitely have to think. I think he's playing like a 9-string occasionally now too. Like, to say his playing hasn't improved is silly, because he clearly has to think differently when doing it. Chord shapes and stuff are all the same. It doesn't matter what tuning you're in, but the way you apply them and what they actually represent, obviously is different. What have you been working on, Anthony? Hello, third person on the stream. That's cool. Yeah. We'll get to both of those. So are you mixing your own material or other people's material? Try to turn off some of the stuff I got on the background going so I'm not so distracted by it. 8-string jams are fun. I keep toying with going back to, or at least getting an 8-string or a 7-string just to have it, but I've yet to pull the trigger. Also, limited budget at the moment, so just kind of, I've too many baritones, so I really don't need a 7-string. Nick is a good example of that with the theory stuff. Excuse my belching. Also, I think Nick actually does know some theory without fully acknowledging that he knows the theory. But I feel like, everyone is at a different place with it, and sometimes it's hard to judge where you are with things or what you're actually aware of until you start dissecting it. The thing with musical instruments is with any craft really, but like you're never done learning, or you shouldn't feel like you're done learning. I'm with you there, Anthony. I'm actually doing some of that. That's part of what I'm going to get into today when we get into the actual stream. Or I guess we're on it, but when we get to the topics of the stream, I'll get into that because I'm starting to do some freelance mixing work again, which is pretty exciting. I've already had a couple of clients now again, which has been cool, and most of it thanks to this group of people and some musician friends I know in Ohio have been kind of referring work to me, and apparently I underbid myself, so I've changed my prices. But again, we'll get into all that. I'm doing some pretty exciting stuff with that. I'm excited to mix other people's projects. Thanks, man. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've done off and on. I've engineered records and worked as an assistant engineer and producer on multiple records over the years, and I kind of got away from it for a longer period of time than I think I should have, because it's hard to do that as a business. And the few times I've attempted to do an actual fully functional studio, because my budget was so limited initially, it kind of was limiting to me and my ability to do what I wanted to do or have a space to do what I wanted to do. So now, kind of with the internet stuff, I feel like maybe it's an opportunity for me to at least get back into the mixing and mastering world for folks, because people can record things at home and then give it to me and then I'll work on it. But I also hope to, down the line, and it is definitely in the cards, to have a fully functional studio again at some point. Technically, I have all the stuff to do it. Plenty of gear laying around, and guitars and computers, know-how, and all that. And I guess that's all I really need other than a space. So hopefully down the line, that's something I can, get going and be able to have an actual facility and do things. I've had a couple offers to work in other people's facilities, but it also means that whatever money I make gets cut in half. And sometimes that's good and fair, and sometimes it's not. Bring back time. Hello. You just finished another tune, yeah. Yeah, mastering is tricky. There are good ways to do it, even using free stuff. The practices are generally the same, but yeah, I don't know. That's something I'm also offering through this thing, which I'll get into in 6 minutes. As soon as we get into the real stream, then I'll get into all the topics I have going on. This is more so just pre-show hangs. I do production with bands. I've produced a handful of things. Some stuff I've recorded and produced simultaneously, and then other things I've just done production on and let people record. There was a band called the Terror Electric. When I was running a label, I produced their record, and it was recorded by my buddy Micah, who's done a bunch of the Close the Hatch records. He used to be in Hawthorne Heights. I have allergies this morning, so if you see me scratching my nose, that's why. I enjoy producing. I think it's fun because I can kind of, as long as the band is open to ideas, and I am open to their suggestions and ideas. Obviously, I would have to be if they're coming to me to record or work with me, then I would assume they are interested in whatever it is I may have to offer. But yeah, I mean, production's fun. It's fun to, try to take someone's idea and expand upon it and make it something, even bigger and cooler than what they may have had in mind. Yeah, I don't know, all that stuff's cool. I would love to get into more of that. And I'd love to be at a point where I could travel doing production and, work. And I think it's very doable now because you really just need a laptop and an interface. And the microphone, so I think it's very logistically possible for me to do that stuff. I have a buddy or a mutual friend, Siegfried Meyer, who's a record producer. He's worked with my wife's band a bunch. He bought a Sprinter van and literally turned it into a portable studio. So he's kind of doing like how the old Zeppelin records were recorded. Get your stuff pushing. Yeah. And send me whatever you got. I'm more than happy to do it. I'm going to announce some stuff on how that's going to be possible through Fiverr today on the stream. And I'm also going to start including the option for links and stuff. I got some ideas, and then I kind of want to toss them around, and that's the whole point of the stream today, is just kind of let everybody know why I've been so MIA, and why a lot of us seem to be MIA. I think Bun is the most consistent doing his news stuff, but as far as individual videos and stuff like that, I think we're all dropping off a little bit, which is both good and bad, but I feel like it's, this is an opportunity for me to give you my take on what's happening with myself, particularly because obviously I know myself, and what's kind of happening with everyone else. Yeah. Man, I think sometimes it's easier because it's not yours. You're not attached to it, And I think it's a little easier to say, like, oh, we could do this with it, because ultimately it's not yours to, be hurt by the results or whatever, or to question the results because it's someone else's creativity. But I think it all has its place. There are times in which somebody being able to point stuff out is good. I just got back to and I would say just, it's hard sometimes it's a lot to juggle, and again, I'll get into that here shortly, but like, there's a lot of stuff to juggle when you've got other things in life going on, and it gets hard to make time for things. And so I totally get that, and that's a big part of what I want to talk about today. Anthony just got back from Ohio after 30, 40, we have a suitcase random. Man, I've done that myself many times. Traveled professionally for a while too. I've even done a little bit of that recently. I traveled to Chicago area to work with Nick Hill on a video shoot for a company for a couple of days and hung out with him a little bit. So yeah, we'll catch up on that too. I'm going to hang out this guitar, and then we'll jump into the actual content here. So bear with me just a second. All right, so pull up my notes here, and we're going to switch over to that. All right, we'll change up the caption here. All right, so the four of you that are on, I appreciate you being here. Oh yeah, Bud did an update on the ban list. Yeah, I'm gonna get into that too. Kind of my take on it, and I want to be as transparent as possible about what I think about it. So since we're in the topic of that, we'll get into that stuff here. So the main reason that I've been so absent from this is because I've literally been doing the stuff that we tell everyone to do on ban lists. A big part of the focus of that channel, which was not my thing originally. I just kind of got invited into it as a guest, and then kind of became a part of it because they either feel like I have good information, or, pardon me for the belches, or at least are, somewhat entertaining enough to do things. But the big focus of that show and the intention of that show is to encourage people to create. I think originally the idea was as solo creators, which is fine. I am both a solo creator and someone that works in groups, and I kind of prefer to work in groups, but sometimes solo is an easier way to do things for sure. But no, nonetheless, I've been working on a record with my band, and we've been doing a lot of tracking and arranging. Basically everything for 8 songs is done with the exception of vocals, which I have to dive into. So that's another thing that's taking my time away from this stuff, because if I want to, at least for me, if I want to feel like I'm doing good work or writing good content or actually putting my best foot forward with the material I'm working on, I have to isolate time to work on it. And now that all the instrumentation's done, my focus has to go away from the instruments for a while and away from other distractions and more focused on spending time with the songs and getting ideas for writing, which for me sometimes means reading, which I'm doing now. That book is wild. It's called In the Dust of This Planet. If you're interested, it's weird. Take on philosophy mixed with horror stuff. Very interesting. Right. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, sorry, I got a message by somebody and it distracted me. Very unprofessional. So yeah, that's the thing, the practice and what we preach thing. So a lot of what gets talked about on Bandless, and I think the reason that it is starting to dwindle, and maybe Bun has a different perspective, I don't know. I have no slight against anyone involved, but it seems almost counterintuitive at a point to have a show that reinforces this idea of stop talking, start doing, when the literal context of the show is us talking about doing something rather than doing it. So it is good to encourage people. It's good to make people feel like they're not alone in the creative process and that their ideas are not singular as far as their struggles and all that stuff. That stuff's all important, and I think it's important to have those things. But I also feel like just that short group of videos and streams associated with Bandless is enough to inform 100 times over, because anyone can watch it at any time and see those conversations, the silly portions of it or the serious part, and still take away the same information without having to have a live stream every week. Now, it's not my job to say what is right or wrong for anyone, but I think my take from Bandless is that I feel like in order to actually present a situation that is in line with what the show is about, that means that we all need to actually do the thing we're preaching. So, like you said, practice what you preach. So that's what I'm doing. I'm taking time off to work on projects and do other things. And I don't know, man. I got no beef with it. I think it's a great outlet. I think, Nick and Bun are awesome people, great friends of mine. I've become very close with Nick. And like I said, I traveled to be working with him, and he's been very kind to me, and I'm very grateful for that. This is not a personal thing at all. It's just I want to get things done more than I want to talk about it. So I think the fair thing to do is to, for me at least, is to step back from adding more to my pile that's not me focusing on what I want to do. And I think that's the whole point of the podcast, is for people to get encouraged to focus on their things. And, by doing that podcast, sometimes I'm not focusing on my work. So for me, I would like to be doing it at least once a month or once every other week with something that's a little more realistic. It's not my show, so I don't get to make those determinations. So beyond that, I've been working on a record, which I will screen share here momentarily. It's going to get weird for a second, but we will pull it back into focus. So let's get this off the screen, and we plug in the hard drive here. Not that this is terribly exciting, but So I've got this right here would be stuff that's works in progress, but this would be first 8 songs, basically done. This separate bass tracking because we redid some stuff. This is the whole record for the most part is in here. There's also about 5 songs that we haven't tracked with the actual full live instrumentation yet, but we'll get around to that after this first batch of stuff comes out. But anyways, yeah, this is what I've just been working on, going through all of these songs. Unfortunately, Restream is being weird about sharing audio, so you wouldn't be able to hear it if I played it, but there is a lot of stuff going on there. And don't mind my temporary song titles. I can assure you that a song called Don't Do Meth won't be on the record. Yeah, let's see here. Sorry, I'm catching up with your things here, so let me bring them on the screen. I think that's a great point. It's the same. It's the same point I'm trying to make. If we're talking about stuff and we're bringing all of this group of people into a room, arguably, or this virtual room, to have this conversation about being productive and creating music, we're also eating time that they could be being productive and making music. So I think it's more effective, if this is a motivational thing, we're going to do it in a way that's more spaced out and more reasonable, so that we can get more focus on a specific topic and have more data and information to share and more conversation, because we've had a bigger gap in time between our meetings. But the other side of it is that it gives the people who support that channel and want to be a part of that community the opportunity to actually, show some results for that encouragement and give you that time to do that. I think that would, in my opinion, that's the fair thing to do. There was talk about once a month, I assume you mean month, and every 2 months, Zoom catch up. Yeah, I hope. I hope that that's a thing. It would make a lot more sense to space it out and give it a fair shake. On top of that, I'm trying to find remote work because COVID has, for lack of a better term, fucked my life up as far as my work goes, because I got laid off from a job at the very beginning of COVID in March of 2020. And I've had a handful of freelance gigs since then, but it's been very hard for me to keep things going in a way that is fruitful enough to feel comfortable. And the U.S., without getting into political stuff, has not done a very good job of helping people that have been placed in unemployment because of COVID. And there's this whole thing with this, because I'm from Ohio originally, but I technically live in Canada. I'm in the process of immigrating. It creates a bit of an extenuating circumstance that is different than most folks. Right, and then you have Delta, and now I don't know if you've seen, there's a Gamma virus too. So we have 3 versions of this virus, which means there's 2 mutated versions of it that are more dangerous. So there's a legitimate possibility of things getting worse again. There may be even a possibility of shutting down again. It looks like the states are pretty hard pressed to just not shut down again. But, the problem being that they haven't really helped people, and they've allowed each state to make decisions as to how they want to assist or not assist the people that are unemployed. And they don't take into consideration any sort of extenuating circumstances or situations that are different than just assuming that people don't want to work. So they're just stretching it out. So my take on it is that everyone's position is different. Everyone's situation is different. And it's not my business or my job to decide what is right or wrong for someone else. Canada's had multiple lockdowns too. And this is I think Monday will be their first day open with actually having public tourism. If you've had a COVID test and what, it's been a process, but I don't know. It's wild. It's a whole conversation. That's not really for this, but the reality of it is that's just what's happening. That's what's going on with me. So I'm trying to, spend time trying to get work. I'm also a full-time student right now, so it's going back to college for stuff. So it's different. That's just where I'm at with it. But that's the stuff that I really wanted to share. And moving from that, I am offering mixing now, and we'll do the screen share again here in a second, and I will pull it up for you. And maybe if Restream will let me. Okay. All right. So over at Fiverr, if you're not familiar with Fiverr, it's Fiverr, not Fiber. It's essentially a page full of freelance creative types and people who deal in like analytics, graphic design, specific tasks, and they offer their services at a nominal fee. So you don't have to do things. And one of the services I'm offering is mixing and mastering. If you just want mixing done, you can message me directly or email me at gearstuffandthings@gmail.com, which I'll put that on the description. Sorry that my phone is not on silent, and that's very distracting. Anyhow, so yeah, I'm offering single mix and master for $40. Get a single revision. I am not utilizing analog gear other than my hands. And then I have maybe I don't. There we go. Wouldn't click for some reason. So then I have the option of an EP mix and master up to 4 songs, $100. Same stuff. And I will also give you the project file. So if you want the Logic file, when I'm done with it, you can have it. And then I have a premium one where I'll do a full length mix and master up to 10 songs. Utilizing some analog gear. I'm going to get some analog compressors and stuff going here soon. And I have a couple in storage. I just got to get them out. So this is a thing I'm also offering. But reasonable prices. I'm trying to be fair and not price gouge anyone. So that is a thing I got going on. And just figured I would share it with all of you. And get back in the chat. But yeah. Offering a bunch of mix and master options on Fiverr. Again, link will be in the description so you can go find it. But I will happily mix and master any of your work. All you have to do is send me the WAV files. If you don't want to do it through Fiverr and you want to make a deal separate from that, perfectly fine. Just email me or hit me up in the comments with your contact information and I will get back to you. But yeah, if you want to use Fiverr, it's a pretty painless experience. The pricing I had set lower initially, and then I realized that Fiverr is going to take a chunk of it like most of these things do, and it just had to be bumped up. But I keep my prices fair. It's $40 for a single mix and master with a revision, and $100 for an EP for up to 4 songs. Same thing, $250. For a full record up to 10 songs. It's very reasonable pricing. I know engineers that are charging $250 a song. There are some engineers on YouTube which are charging $1,000 a song, which is insane. Without dropping names, there's a guy who does a lot of YouTube videos where he tours studios here. Great dude, seems like a really nice guy, has a great channel. I love the content of his channel, but he has also started offering mixing and mastering fees as part of his channel that are literally 4 and 5 times what someone who has a lengthy history in this. So like, I know I've talked about this before. I worked with Drew Mazurek. Drew Mazurek has worked with Lyle Lovett. He's worked with Linkin Park, Nothing Face. He's got a lengthy history. Byzantine, he's worked with Prosthetic, Metal Blade, all these labels. He's an actual tenured producer and engineer who's been working in the industry since the 80s. His single rate about 3 years ago was $500 a song. Meanwhile, there's a guy that's a YouTuber that is charging $1,000 per song, and he's claims to have credits working on these records, but if you go research it, he's not credited on any of them. So all I'm saying is that you should get good work out of people and not gouge them. There's no reason to treat people that way and to take advantage of them. And this is obviously, in the gate stuff. If business picks up, then maybe we'll change down the line, but I'm still never going to charge somebody $1,000 a song. It's fucking insulting. So, sorry. That was my little rant. There's a few people on the YouTube that get a little crazy because they have a big following and then they start thinking that their value is a little higher than it is. And I think arguably we're all the same here. So, who knows? I invited Nick Hill to join the stream, and he has informed me that he just woke up, so he will not be joining us because, he's sleepy. Yeah, I think so. 40 is extremely fair. 40 to 50 per song is pretty normal. I will say that I've been paying people to do some mixing on my records for the past few years, and I think in total, from the last Close the Hatch record, mixing and mastering, and all of it was $500, and that's with paying someone who's a professional. And yeah, you know what, 13 Flaws, I agree with you, but I feel like there's enough people that get sucked into thinking a thing is a thing because they can see it, like can see that this guy's got 40-some thousand subscribers. He's clearly making a living through YouTube and doing remote session work. Maybe he's a reliable source. He interviews a lot of people that are very top tier. So I think people get kind of sucked into that. I mean, the dude's interviewed people that I admire tremendously and producers and engineers that honestly charge less than what he's charging. So it's wild to me that that's a thing. And he's interviewed, without getting into it, man, I'll just say it. Dude's Andrew Masters. He's got a great channel. I don't know where he's come up with these metrics, but it's a cool thing. If he's making the money, I respect that. I do think it's price gouging, but if he's able to make that money and pull it from people and people are happy with his work, then who am I to judge? But my opinion of it is it's a little shitty. It's a little too much. Especially when there's guys out there that have legitimate careers with, a lot of accolades and things behind them, and they're not getting that kind of money per song, which they probably deserve more than him. No offense, but if you're offended, you're offended. I don't really care. I don't know you. I'm sure that's a shitty way of looking at it, but I'm not trying to hurt anyone's feelings. I'm just saying it like it is. Like, there's no reason to charge somebody that much money for something, especially now during all the shit that's going on. I could understand if it was like a couple $100 a song, sure, okay. Even that seems a bit much, but literally $1,000, pretty crazy. So while I have you all here, another thing I want to get into, and I think I'm going to try to offer, well, maybe if the caption will work. Let's see. Let me tell you how much I don't like Restream. It has deleted a bunch of my captions lately. Okay, so similarly and oddly kind of inspired, the irony is that I was inspired to start doing the mixing stuff again and putting it out there, having the availability and the price being as reasonable it is because of Andrew Masters and his channel, because his prices are crazy and not realistic. Similarly, he is also offering consultations and the option of, talking to people, about whatever. If, and I think I'm going to start offering that too. I haven't gotten that into Fiverr. I think that's something I'm going to do directly through the website, gearstuffandthings.com, or directly through my email. But yeah, I mean, if you have questions about mixing or mastering or guitar stuff or whatever, or even less guitar lesson stuff. I don't know. I just want to make myself available for those sort of consultation things, and depending on what it is, I'm not going to charge a crazy rate like he's charging like $250 for a meeting. Is just fucking crazy. Again, good for him, but I'm going to do it in a way that I think is fair to the people that pay attention to the channel and that would consider my advice useful. And the value I place on my advice is a bit lower than what he puts on his. So that's just me being honest with all of you. But yeah, I'm going to start offering consultations as well. So sometimes you see somebody doing a thing, it's a good idea, but you also see them doing it in a way that's kind of predatory. And then you take that idea and you make it fair and balanced for the people that may take your, help, and appreciate it versus just doing it because you've got high numbers on YouTube. Like any of this, none of this matters. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many followers or subscribers you have on YouTube. Someone's either good at mixing your music or they're not. It has nothing to do with the subscriber count. And I think that there's a weird disconnect sometimes with that stuff because we're all just we're just people, and there's thousands and thousands, honestly, of engineers out there, and nobody has to go to any particular person, but you certainly don't have to be, beating your wallet to death in the process. So, let's see here. I'm going to respond to Nick Hill. And respond to my wife. All right. So there's a couple other things that I want to get into. Well, I appreciate that. You guys are very nice and extremely kind. I am very appreciative that you fellas are on the stream. I realize it's a weird time of day to be doing a stream, but I just thought it would be something to do and kind of catch everyone up. And because these stay up after I do the thing, hopefully people will be able to go back and watch it and get the information. Yes, there is. If anyone sees it, I noticed it. I think there is a thing of paper towels in the shot. Not very music or there's also a Cuisinart in the background that has not been opened. It was a wedding gift, I believe. So hopefully whoever gave it to us isn't watching, but we haven't opened it yet. It just hangs out back there and holds pedal boards. So thanks, Cuisinart. And let's see. So I don't know what are you guys listening to? I've got a few things that I'm excited about. But you tell me. I know right now, as far as what I've been listening to regularly, I've been going back through the Stone Temple Pilots catalog, just going through old stuff, Bjork and Lightning Bolt. Same with that, Anthony. A lot of true crime podcasts. I've been getting into that. The Dictators podcast and the Dan Carlin hardcore history stuff. I've been going back through that, which is pretty involved. 5 and 6 hour long podcasts, but very cool. I finished a book on pimping because why not? It's a book by Iceberg Slim called Pimp. It's an interesting read. It's a book that's gotten a bunch of awards, and people like Dave Chappelle and stuff have talked about it in stand-up. So I was curious about why people thought it was so great. So I read it, and it is great. It's a really interesting take on humanity, I guess. Very weird. Pimping in the 40s. Pretty interesting. So, yeah. But new stuff. Let me see if I can pull it up. I had a few things saved. But anyway, yeah, there's a new... Let's see here. Stocked on the latest single releases from Tortuga Ninja. And... oh, that's awesome. That's a band that I really enjoy and that I did some research on. The Djinn stuff gets weird for me because there's parts of it I really love and there's parts of it that seem weird to me. I feel like that band is super, super genre bending. They do a lot of cool stuff. And I think that's really cool. The guy that's playing guitar for them, that's using the Helix and using the Variacs and stuff, he's doing some really crazy stuff with programming and stuff to get through those songs. And the Helix is literally what this, all the structures of the songs are built around, which is pretty interesting. Conspiracy theory podcast, yeah, that's always fun. Conspiracy theories are fun. Neck needs to pop. Street Next Door, that's awesome. Yeah, I listen to Necronomipod quite a bit. Those are buddies of mine. Also buddies of the podcast with my wife and I, but which we've taken a break from as well. Let's see. Well, that's awesome that he's a professor of media. Well, it makes sense that he's so intertwined and all that stuff and up to date on it. Listen to Car Bomb a bit lately, which is really wild. Heavy stuff with tons of noise. Contortionist is a cool band. That's awesome. I've been listening to Cult Leader as far as new stuff. Really excited about the new Thrice record coming out. I'm a huge fan of theirs. I put the links in the description to their new single. Also Helix users. Dustin Kintrew is definitely one, and I think Timpey uses the HX effects as well as the bass player. Yeah, the new Thrice stuff is great. I think they did it in-house again. I don't know how familiar you are with their career, but they've done, since Visu, they've done a handful of records on their own. So the record that followed Visu was the Alchemy Index, which is like a 4-part EP from each of the elements, water, fire, air, earth type thing. Captain Planet, I guess. Anyhow, it was 4 separate EPs that were all kind of recorded in GarageBand and Logic at Timpey's former studio. And then they did a record called Beggars, which was also recorded in their studio at Timpey's place. Which those group, that group of records is amazing and kind of got me really excited about recording again. The Alchemy Index stuff literally got me to go buy a laptop again and start doing audio production, because I went to school for audio engineering in 2001, so if that tells you anything. I worked for studios and got away from studios because it was kind of a slog, and it was kind of like you have to make coffee and run errands and stuff for years until you really get into a position. You do, occasional assistant engineering work and production work, or when someone else wants to go make a phone call or step away or take the day off, then you do the job of the head engineer, which I've done. But at a certain point, it's just not consistent enough. And, so I got away from it and just went back to normie jobs for a while. And then the Alchemy Index stuff got me interested in, recording at home again and trying to run a studio again. So they informed that. But anyways, they did a handful of records in between those that were with professional studios and, different labels. And they recorded one at Red Bull has a studio. They recorded Major Minor, I believe, there. And then, whatever. Their most recent record, though, the one that's getting ready to come out, is another one that's done in Timpey's place. And my opinion is the records they do themselves tend to be the best ones, because they don't have any, outside influence. And, as far as a label or whatever, they're just doing their thing. No one's telling them what to do or what to write or anything like that. No one's affecting it. And the production ends up being more interesting because it's closer to what, it is their vision, versus someone else's interpretation of their vision. But that's me being a bit analytical about it, but I feel like that's the thing. I always appreciate it when bands do stuff in-house. Same thing like Periphery, which is a band I enjoy, but I'm not as into them as I was initially. Got into Bulb when he was on YouTube, but not YouTube, MySpace. But anyways, yeah. when bands do stuff in house, they tend to treat it differently, and I think the proof is in the pudding there. Yeah, I wish Dredge would do more stuff. It's been a while. I think that record with Dan the Automator was the last record they did, and then they've kind of been on hiatus ever since then, unless I've missed something. But I feel like that they've done some repressings of Catch Without Arms and stuff, but I haven't seen them put in any new material out. And the guitar player is in another band now. Well, also one of my favorite guitar players ever. But yeah, I don't know. Whiplash is cool, nerve-wracking, very anxiety-driven movie. Pretty intense. I don't know that I would. I don't know that I would survive in an environment like that. I think I would just quit. I guess that's the point, right? Is perseverance. But no thanks. I don't want to be yelled at or have things thrown at me. Unless I'm working with Ross Robinson, in which case throw everything at me, because that's a dream for me. But I could do a whole episode just on how much I love Ross Robinson, but it's not really that interesting to everyone. So, let's see. Oh, well, if word on the street is accurate, Anthony, then I am stoked, because I love Dredge, and I would love to hear more music from them. Guess, let's see. I've been stoked on some new gear that's coming out, it's been a while since I've cared about gear, but so I'll share the screen again and kind of show you what I'm into here, but maybe I will if Chrome stops being weird. Okay. Share. What's up, Aaron? I have to check that podcast out then. Sorry, this weird loop that's going on here. So these Tone Masters, the Tone Master Super Reverb series. Normally a Super Reverb is quite expensive. This is a different take on it. It's a bit of a kind of a hybrid thing here, like they've been doing some of the other ones. And it's got some more modern stuff where you've got like the ability to do direct outs and things of that nature, and cab sims and variable attenuation for the wattage, so you can get some nice bedroom volume stuff. I love Fender amps. I love the clean aspect of them. I love how well they take pedals, and I realize that people probably think that's silly because I'm in like a sludge doom post metal band. But this is actually perfect for that, because then it's just pedals into a clean amp, and just being truthful about it, I think things that are solid state or hybrid tend to sound better for clean stuff, which the Reverb, or was it the Reverb amp? The Roland amp, which I'm drawing a blank on the name of. Solid state sounds amazing. It's still a go-to for people. Obviously, tube amps are wonderful, but I just think this is cool. Gives you the option of getting in the door. This is Canadian dollars, so it's actually a bit less than that in American. But yeah, I just think it's something that's cool to mess with, and I'm excited that these things are becoming a little more reasonable in price. So let me get off of the screen share here. How have you been, Aaron? It's been a while since I've been on here. Kind of the whole reason I'm doing this today is just to kind of catch up with people. If there's anyone on the stream who did not catch any of the previous information, I'll go back through it. Baroness has switched to using the combos and stuff. And I mean, pedals. If pedals are your thing, a solid, clean foundation is what you need. Just being truthful, unless you're just trying to be super overdriven and gainy, but it's I don't know. I like it. I prefer, my favorite amp on the planet is the 68 Fender Bassman, which I've owned two of. Every time I end up selling them for some reason, I had somebody build me a clone of one, which is great, but still not the same. So that's something that's back in the cards for me. But just great amps and a lot of headroom. Clean headroom is everything when you're dealing with pedals, because you can start stacking and stacking and not have to worry about it getting shitty sounding, unless that's what you're going for, in which case be shitty sounding. Fender's great clean. Anything with a clean channel does the trick. Its high gain amps are awesome. I got no beef against high gain amps, but you know, heck, I don't have a beef against really any of it at this point. I'm using a big combination of stuff. Awesome. Well, that's great that you're working on so much music, man. That's kind of the thing I got into earlier. A big part of why I'm not as present on YouTube as I have been in the past is because I'm trying to actually practice what I preach and work on material and finish a record. So I am going to do videos. I guess I haven't said that. I am going to do more videos here, but I want to really think out what I'm going to do and try to present something that is worthy of your time if you're going to come watch it. And I feel like that's another hurdle for me, because I don't want to be redundant and keep doing the same thing over and over again, which is hard not to do on YouTube. And there's other things that I think other people do way better than I do, so it seems silly for me to kind of try to do what they're doing and dumb it down. I'm excited to hear what you're doing, Baritone Cult. Are you having Kevin from Backroom or whatever, Dillinger, mix it? I know he's mixed a couple of your records and mastered them. Your tracks. Antrician, I think is his last name. I'm thinking about you make a good point, Baritone Call. I think I may do more of this, like try to get on, once a week and just catch up with everybody. And since I'm not doing as many regular videos right now, I have a great list of ideas people have provided, but I don't know. I have a couple videos that have been in the works on compression and stuff, but it's like an easy concept that can very quickly become not easy. So I'm trying to really make that something that's informative and still kind of have the vibe of my stuff. Okay, well, that's a good call. I can do a video on Doom content. I'm more, like, it's weird because my band is less and less in the Doom world as time goes on. I think there are things that connect it to that with the tunings and tone choices and stuff, and the fact that the band started out as a post-metal band that kind of became more of a Doom thing, and now we're kind of going back. So. Gotcha. So yeah, Kevin is doing your record. That's awesome, man. The stuff he's done for you is great. I've heard many records he's recorded and mixed at Backroom. At one point, Close the Hatch was scheduled to go there to record a couple of songs, and we had a whole kerfuffle with money and a label and stuff, so we backed out. And we also wanted, he used to do live shows there too, and stream them and have small audiences in the facility. So we were trying to set it up to where we could plan our session and then have a day to do one of the live shows with another band. But it didn't come together because there was a label dangling carrots and not following through. It caused a lot of trouble, actually, without getting into all that. But anyways, yeah, Kevin's really fantastic engineer. He's got a great studio. He clearly has a fantastic ear. His mixes are incredible. Also probably not charging crazy. I appreciate that, 13. Yeah, I think that's the balance, right? Like, I want to do stuff that's Doom oriented and has, the weight to it of that kind of material, but I also am past the point of screaming on every song. Like, they're screaming on the new record for sure, but like that's coming out when there was none really on the previous record other than like some overdubs and background stuff. But I think it has to have a balance. Otherwise, it just gets weird, and where it's predictable, which I guess it's still predictable in some ways, but I don't know. What we did on the last record on Modern Witchcraft, we're just kind of expanding upon with this new batch of songs. And if you watch any of the latter videos I did on like drum mixing and stuff, they feature a couple of the sections of newer stuff. So you can kind of get an idea for where it's going. But the two songs that I chose for the videos are stuff that's coming out way later and not part of this initial batch of material we're getting ready to release. Yeah, I'm with you, man. Heavy and melody is the jam. Real drummer is awesome, man. Aaron, it's always good to have a real drummer. It's better that way. It's fun to program. Nothing wrong with it. And if you can program it in a way that feels natural, awesome. Here, I'll pull that one up. How has writing been? Well, the writing of the music part I've been working on since basically the beginning of the COVID thing, like June of 2020. I started writing material for this batch of stuff. So some of it's quite old now. But yeah, I don't know. It's going well. 8 of the songs are fully tracked, which I kind of covered earlier in the video here. As far as instrumentation, but I have to do vocals, and I'm kind of taking time to get away from guitars and stuff and recording as much. I am mixing other people's material, but I am not really focusing on anything other than trying to get my mind around what I want to do with lyrical content and melody stuff and where screaming is necessary or how I want to approach the songs. So there's a lot of stuff going on this one that's different than the previous one. This one has, some of our previous records have a little bit of synth in them and a little bit of layering with that stuff, and this one has some version of that on almost every song. And different approaches in guitar playing. It's a different bass player than the previous record. So there's a different feel altogether, but also it still feels like the same kind of thing. A little bit more up-paced and more back into the realm of post-metal versus straight-up doom, but it has its place. Some of the other newer songs that we haven't actually recorded yet are more doom-oriented. Let's see. I'm stoked. I'm stoked on the new stuff. For me, it's like the writing of the lyrical content and recording of vocals is kind of what determines the songs. I mean, the material is great instrumentally, but I am in a position to make or break that material with my choices lyrically and vocally. So I really am focused on that right now. I want to make sure it ends up being a great final product. Let's see here. Yeah, man, live drums is the jam. I program everything on demos, and when I had a V-drum kit, I would just play it because I can play drums a bit. But I don't know anymore, man. It's, I get the basic idea down and I turn it over to Sean, the guy that's a drum. Let's see here. I'll pull you up there. Hey, have a good weekend, Anthony. I'm going to jump off here too shortly. I just wanted to stop in and catch everyone up. And you were right, Aaron. Don't need to scream to sound heavy. Yeah, I think I'm going for more of an ethereal vibe with the vocal stuff, similar to what I did on the last record. But there's going to be screaming on a couple of the songs just because it's what feels right. But who knows? The rest of it may have screaming on it. I think I'm going to try to pull some additional guests and stuff in on it. I've got a few of them already. I got some additional playing done by a few guests, so that'll be cool. But yeah, we'll see. But anyways, fellas, I appreciate you guys hanging out. Anthony and Baritone Cult, 13 Flaws. You guys have been here since the the crack of the stream. But everyone that jumped on and checked it out, awesome. And yeah, this was a lot of fun. If you missed anything at the beginning, feel free to go check out all that stuff. But I will put some of it back up here again just to catch people up. So I am offering mixing and mastering services through Fiverr. That's the link. I'll screen share again so you can see what I'm referring to. So over here, that's my silly face. This is Fiverr. If you look me up there, it's Stephen Barton or Bartow171. It doesn't let me pick my name, so that's what it assigned me. Doing full record mixing, $250. EP, up to 4 songs, $100. Basic single song master, $40. Very reasonable prices. And I am very flexible, so if you have ideas or you want to work outside of this parameter or you don't want to pay through Fiverr, all you have to do is reach out to me at Gear Stuff and Things at gmail.com, and I will work with you to mix and master your stuff removed of Fiverr. If you're interested in consultation stuff, if you have any questions, or you just like to learn how to do some stuff that you see me doing, you want to learn how to mix and master or get my take on that stuff without having to pay for me to actually mix and master stuff and maybe help walk you through mixing your stuff, I'll do consultation and we can negotiate the prices there too. Very flexible. We'll set up Zoom appointments and all that stuff. But yeah, just email me, gearstuffandthings@gmail.com. Let me know what you're thinking and we'll work it out. And so, yeah, take care, Aaron. Glad I got to catch up with you. And 13 Flaws. Yeah, man, I hope there's going to be more well stuff. Maybe there is, hopefully, down the line. When Nick's ready, then I'll be ready as well. But, yeah, aside from that, all the same stuff. You can always just email me, gearstuffandthings@gmail.com, and we'll go from there. But, yeah, thanks so much for hanging out, fellas. I really appreciate it. It was good talking to all of you, and I'll get some more stuff up here in the next week or so, and hopefully we can do another one of these streams soon, and I will try to give everyone more of a heads up before we get into that, so we have more than just 30-40 minutes ahead of time. But the good thing about these streams is they stay up in perpetuity, so the information is there. And I'm sorry, Andrew Masters, if you watch this and you're upset with me. I'm not trying to throw shade. I just think your prices are crazy for mixing and mastering. But that's what I'm here for, is to, offset the balance. But anyhow, I appreciate it. Appreciate the channel. I think that it's awesome what you're doing. So don't take me as any sort of a jerk. I'm not trying to be one. And yeah, so until next time, yeah, it's been me. So yeah, I would be more than happy to do any work on any of your music, 13 Flaws. So just let me know. And again, if you don't want to do it through Fiverr, you can message me directly and we'll work something out. I'm not sweating any of it. But you have a good weekend, fellas. And until next time, Gear Stuff and Things and live stream. Have a